Pro Tools can be launched with or without Rosetta enabled, as found in the Get Info choice when you right-click on the application icon. Rosetta is needed for some special plugins, but if you aren't mixing here, you may see a performance boost by making sure Rosetta is not selected. You should always begin a session here by importing the I/O settings first. Do not try and recreate the I/O settings yourself. You will not know how to set it up properly. The I/O settings as of this writing are accurate and are labeled January 2025 Stereo Tracking and Mixing at Primary Sound. They are available on the computer or on the Visiting Engineers page. I strongly recommend you download them to your computer and prep the session before you walk in the door. It saves a lot of time. Be sure low latency monitoring is turned off in the I/O settings window. This setting is not stored with the I/O file and could be changed by anyone at any time and will make things weird unless you know what it does. This is covered in a later video. When you make a new session, be sure to select these I/O settings. Please endeavor to name your Pro Tools session something easily understandable. I recommend using the date as a prefix like this, 2025-0101 _ session name. Never store your Pro Tools session or any files on the system hard drive. They will certainly be erased. Be sure the buffer size is set to either 64 or 128 for tracking. When you create tracks and go to set your inputs, you will see that there are various input labels. Goliath N 1 to 16 are the preamps built into the Goliath interface, and their outputs go straight into Pro Tools. These do not get used often, but can be useful as they are clean and quiet. You cannot use these in conjunction with other outboard gear like compressors or EQs. You probably should not use them unless you understand how they are routed. Their inputs are located in the upper right-hand corner of the patch bay. Inputs 1 to 16 are just like they sound and correspond to inputs 1 to 16 on the patch bay, which is labeled as multitrack sends and group monitor inputs. You can just think of them as Pro Tools inputs. Inputs 17 to 48 have a prefix of Orion simply to indicate which A to D unit is being used. For all intents and purposes, you can consider them regular inputs 17 to 48. Outputs are also straightforward. They appear on the patch bay on two separate green rows labeled multitrack returns. Think of them as Pro Tools outs. The two rows they appear on are identical splits of the same signal coming out of Pro Tools. The Pro Tools stereo out is a separate stereo output that appears on the Stereo 1 button in the monitor section of the console. If you were mixing in the box, this is the easiest and best output to select.